Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new video, a long-awaited 2023 lineup video. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I will say, normally I put out this video earlier in the month rather, at the start of the new year. But I just was kind of like still working out the kinks of what it was that I was going to be working in. I feel like I had just a little bit of a slow start into the new year. Maybe you guys can relate as well. So I was just kind of really like mulling over what my stack was going to look like, what my lineup was going to look like. But I sat down, I dug through all the things, and I've narrowed down what it is I'm going to be working in. As you can see, I have a massive pile of all the things, really to no surprise at all. I work in a ton of books. I know a lot of you guys do as well. Some of this too is also like personal journals. I have art journals, sketchbooks and doodle books, and then kind of more project specific things / sketchbooks that are specific to things that I do. So I kind of categorize them a little bit. So I thought that might be a kind of organized way to work our way through this big old pile. I will do my best to link things down below. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get right into it. First up in this little pile over here are my personal journals. So kind of like my planner, written journals. Again, more personal things that I put pictures into, that I write about my day, etc. I'm just going to grab this one that's right on the top. I believe you would have seen this already in a art supply haul. This is actually going to be my tarot journal for the year, and I've already started working in it. This is going to be a whole series over on Patreon, so if you want to see more of that, you can do that there. But I have kind of like monthly overview spreads. This is where I'm putting kind of like my, daily and not so daily card pulls, just notes to myself, etc. Various challenges that I might be doing, online, on the internet or whatever, pulling cards and taking notes and all that stuff. I also have created a card tracker, a deck wish list, the deck of the month spread, all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm tracking kind of my daily cards that I'm pulling, both for myself and just for studying. This is a big goal of mine for 2023, is like the year of the tarot, because I'm really going to be trying to get back into my Buy Bun tarot deck project and focus in on that and get it done. So I think part of that is really, focusing on my tarot studies, and having a little tarot journal has been really fun. And I have this in its own little setup, its own little bag that I kind of move around the house. So it's easier for me to kind of like have a deck of tarot cards on the go and then my little journal. So really excited to keep up with this one for the new year. This is a new one to my mass of collections here. So tarot journal is the first of the personal journals. Next up is my 5-year journal. Oh my gosh, this has just been such a labor of love. 5-year journals is such an investment, both like if you have the Hobonichi one, they're a little pricey to get, but it's also just a huge investment of your time. It's a lot of time doing daily entries like this. It's a big commitment, but it is so worth it. I am entering year 3, so it's kind of exciting. I've done a couple of entries here for year 3, but obviously it's still the start of the year. But having a lot of fun keeping up with this journal. This too, I have its own little setup for that I keep in a little bag that I move around the house. This is also something that I do on Patreon as well. I do big 5-year catch-up videos. I do 5-year flip-throughs. It lives on Patreon, again, because it's a personal journal that I write a lot of personal things in. I cover up some things with Post-its, but it really documents my life here. So that's not really something that I necessarily always want to broadcast, all over the internet. But look at that chunk. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Year 3. Very excited about that guy. Next up, we have my planner journal. This serves as both my planner, my to-do list, note taker, random journaling of things. Like if I have random personal junk that I want to throw in there. I still need to collage my cover, which at some point I will, and that will be a video here for YouTube, so stay tuned for that. I always do my cover collages with you guys here. I have my new little cover for this year, my little washi tape set up, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's mainly like where I put trash and washi tape and whatnot, where I document things. This was for when I was sketching up on my 5-year journal. This is in a video on Patreon. It's also just where I dump leftover random things and pictures and whatnot, messy tape, to-do lists, all that stuff. So that is my, there's my Disney checklist for our trip for tomorrow. So yeah, it's kind of just like where I do all my list taking, my calendar, all of that good stuff is here. This lives on my desk. I don't take it with me, but it lives on my desk and it's typically open to whatever week I'm on or day or whatever, to jot down all of the things. So still need to collage the cover. We will get to that at some point here on the channel. So that was my planner journal. Next up for personal journaling is my Disney junk journal. I did just post a TikTok and a short here on YouTube if you want to see like a very quick little flippy flip of it. I'm not going to get into that here because there are some pictures in there that I would want covered up before I do a little flip. But you can check out that little YouTube short or TikTok to see that. This is a little golden book journal. It is from Art Journaling the Magic. They make these amazing handmade golden book journals. This was something that was on my to-do list for years. My patrons can vouch for this. I've always wanted to have a Disney journal. I knew I wanted to do it in one of these golden book journals. And I had a golden book journal off to the side that I thought I was going to, make myself, bind my own book and put my own paper in and do it. But I just had it in a pile, never got around to doing it, and binding the book together was the one thing holding me back from starting it. So I finally just was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy one. I'm going to buy one that's done, that's ready to go, because I've been hoarding all of this Disney stuff, all these amazing stickers and washi tape and just all sorts of fun. I'll show you this because there's no photos on it, but I just been hoarding all of this really fun Disney stuff that I really wanted to use. So, there's some other personal stuff. There's some pictures underneath there. And so I finally got to a point where I was like, I just need to just buy the darn thing, have it already bound and ready to go, so that I can start working in it and have fun because I have all this awesome Disney stuff from all of our trips to the parks. So that was one of my best purchases that I made last year because I started this junk journal in December and then have just, continued onto it into this year. So this is like a really brand new junk journal for me, but I'm having so much fun working in this. Oh my God. This is an absolute going to be in my lineup for sure because I think I dabble in this thing, I don't know, every other week probably because I'm kind of back journaling all of the box of Disney junk that I have and that I've saved. So I'm just having so much fun, mindlessly collaging and throwing in paint and really just allowing myself to be junk journally about it. I mean, I save even food bags and stuff like that that I put in as tip-ins, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. So this is also a series that lives on Patreon. Again, I know I keep saying that a lot, but this is all part of my personal journaling here. There are 2 episodes up already of Junk Journal with Me episodes, and I have a 3rd one that's coming out next month. So lots of really fun, very chunky Junk Journal with Me videos over there for all things Disney. Okay, so that was kind of my personal journal pile. Next up, let's get into some art journaling. I've been really touch and go with my art journaling over the past couple years. I think, there's times where I'm really into it and other times that I'm not. A lot of my altered book journals, art journaling, and when I say art journaling, I'm talking about my full-blown, completed big junk journal or art journal spreads with illustrations, and they take me sometimes months to complete. I've completed a lot of my larger altered book art journals, so I think that that's part of the issue is that I don't really have a new altered book that I'm actively working in. I've also been working kind of in a smaller scale. I've just been a little all over the place with it. So I've kind of just accepted that and I've just left it as a very low pressure thing for me. So I have a very small pile of sort of art journals that I have been working in. First up are my little altered Dr. Seuss books. These are really fun. They're just a really small scale. You would have seen some of these spreads from last year. I have a few that are, not completed. I have some where I've started to put media in, but I haven't really done a whole lot to them. It's just a very fun, low pressure place to make mixed media work that I don't really have to think about too much. And it's just a really fun scale. So I have 2 of these kind of in process that I'm sure I will dabble in and out of. It's also just a great kind of warm up spot to work in because again, it's very small, very low pressure, which is always a good time. So Got my little altered Dr. Seuss journals. A lot of these videos are also on Patreon. Big art journal with me, videos of me starting these and working in some of these spreads as well. Another art journal / sketchbook. I always have one of these art collection moleskin journals in the rotation, specifically this size. I think it's what, the 5x7 size. And it's, again, the art collection. So it's the little bit of the thicker paper that can withstand kind of mixed media a bit better than some of the other moleskin paper. I have lots of these that I've completed. Half of them end up being art journal spreads. This is one that's in progress. And the other half of it ends up being just kind of random sketchbooky things that, you know, it's just kind of ends up all over the place. But I do end up doing a lot of art journaling in it as well. These are very, very early spreads. I just started this one. I took it up to Big Bear with me at the end of last year, but then didn't really do anything else in it. And I've now picked it back up to do some art journaling in it. So this is like pretty recent. This is from like a week ago. So very, very new 2023 mixed media moleskin, as I like to call it, where a lot of art journaling ends up living. And they chunk up really nicely too. So all of my finished ones are like this big. There's a number of flip through tours of these here on the channel, so you can always reference that if you want to kind of see what they look like when they're completed. But yeah, this one is brand new. I haven't even put my date on the spine yet, so this is just one of those ones that's always in the rotation for me. I have a couple of sketchbooks that are kind of like that as soon as it's done and I've finished it, I immediately get a new one of the same style, because this just is a format and paper style that has worked for me for a really long time. So always going to be in my lineup is one of these moleskins. Okay, next on the art journaling, this is a newer art journal that I've started. It actually is, I've altered it out of a art gallery brochure. So this is actually an artist's name and show, but I have since completely altered it. I've gone through and I've done like a real page by page altering, and I've even sewn some pages into it. This is a series that I have started on Patreon. This video actually hasn't even come out yet, so I'm doing just like a very brief flip, but just really demonstrating that I've hit basically every page in here. And there's a bit of a story behind it that I'm kind of working on. It's kind of its own little project. Like each spread is different, but it is part of the same sort of story that I've kind of created. I don't know. It's something that I'm still kind of exploring. More to come on this, I think, but it's just kind of a different way that I'm approaching art journaling, because I've been so hot and cold with it in the past couple years. So I'm kind of just shifting my approach a little bit, and still very much in the experiment phase on this. But when I got this brochure or this show pamphlet, whatever you want to call it, I kind of just immediately felt it and was like, this is going to be a really fun thing to journal in, because I liked that it was like soft cover. I liked that it had like the big flaps in the front of it that I can kind of journal outward on that. And I really liked the scale of it as well. So I think there's a lot more fun to come of this. And I've been really enjoying working on it and filming the process as well. Again, I think more of the like process videos are going to be on Patreon. And when I start to get into more completed things, or a little bit farther along in layers, then I might film some things for YouTube. So that's what that is. A very small art journal pile, but that's just where I'm at right now in my, creatively, and it is what it is. Okay, next up we've got some sketchbooks. This is what I call my doodle book. I started this last year. When did I start this? I started January of last year. I've gotten pretty far along. I don't have that many. I'm more than halfway on it. Let's see. But this is my little like trash sketchbook. Yeah, I'm more than halfway. It's my little trash sketchbook that I keep with me in my backpack and that I take with me places. It's kind of like my low pressure, again, it's totally a doodle book. I doodle in this. I put leftover crap in it. If I'm feeling anxious and I'm somewhere, I take this out and I draw on this. So it's like my anxiety doodle book of sorts. I'm not doing a flip through of this because I really haven't shared this book anywhere else, and that's kind of an important element to this, is that it very much lives off camera. I've never filmed myself working in this. I've never filmed a flip through of it. It is a low pressure, carry with me, completely off camera, personal little doodle book. I'm sure when I finish it, I'll do a flip through of it, but it's nice as someone who is a content creator and films virtually everything that I create. It's nice to have something that is truly mine that I don't show on camera, which will also connect to these guys in a second as well. So I've got my little stress-free doodle book that I love and will continue to carry with me into this year. Okay, next up we have another sketchbook that I always have in the rotation. This is the Strathmore softcover mixed media sketchbooks. I really love these for doing my completed illustrations in. So I always have one of these in the rotation. Started this in April. This one also overlapped to another one that I had going on, but this is where I put all of my completed illustrations. So you would have seen some of these in the Advent from this year. This is the completed artwork for that. I've done some other random artwork in here. I just really like the paper, so it's a really fun place for all of my originals to live. It takes watercolor and ink really well, like this is watercolor and ink. I just really like working on this paper. There is the end of the April Art Challenge from last year. All of my Advent designs are in here. Other designs that didn't make the Advent. All sorts of things. So eventually this will get filled up, but it gets filled up based on things that I have sketched in other sketchbooks that I then transfer into this and then fully render out. So much like my other Moleskine, the hardcover one that's really like an art journal sketchbook sort of thing, I always have one of those in the pile. Same with this. This is what I do all of my illustrating in. I don't illustrate on loose leaf paper. I like having them all into a book. So that is what I illustrate into. Next up, we have what I call my off-camera crinkles. You guys would have heard me talk about this last year. This was something that I adopted as part of my sketchbook practice. Initially, it started as a sketchbook that I was going to do completely off camera, wasn't going to show, but I found myself working in it so much, it ended up on camera anyways. So that's why my little doodle sketchbook has become my like new off-camera thing, my off-camera doodle book, because these off-camera crinkle sketchbooks have just completely, that rule of it being off-camera went totally out the window, but that's because I loved working in them so much. So right now I actually have two. I have one that's kind of my on-the-go that I like to I took this with me back east because I didn't want to bring my honkin' giant one here. So that's why I started a smaller one. And then I have my larger one that I've been working in for quite some time. So I started, this one the little guy I started just at the end of last year. This guy I started at the start of last year. These end up becoming my really rough sketchbook because what it is it's the Moleskine plain paper, and the plain paper gets really, really crinkly. So I love that. It's terrible for paint. It's terrible for mixed media, but it's a great place to just get sketches down and be really loose with things. So you can see here, this is where I had done my sketching before I created then the final illustration, which lives in this sketchbook over here. So it really is kind of like a companion piece of, this is where I brain dump, where I explore projects, I get really loose and rough with my sketching, and then I transfer things over into this one where completed illustrations then live. I just have really grown to love working in this paper. I just love sketching in this paper. It gets really messy. And again, crinkly. That's where the off-camera crinkle name came from. So this is the original sketches, again, for the Advent that then I transfer out. I create a transfer up and I put it into my other sketchbook. But it's just really a really fun sketchbook to play in. I still have a ways to go on this, but it's very low pressure for me. It's also where I work out sort of project ideas for things, other random things, like this is when I was painting a pumpkin, like sketching that out, trunk or treat sketches, front yard wood cutout sketches, all of that stuff. It's just a very fun, low pressure paper to work in. And you know what? It's been fun bringing in a smaller size as well. This is what I took on my trip, and it ended up being a really fun thing to work in. I was starting to do the Meds 100 Heads challenge. I didn't, go into it with the intention of finishing it. I just did it as, this is going to be my little sketching project that I do, while I'm out of town. And I had a lot of fun with it, just doing heads. And again, this paper, for whatever reason, just keeps me really loose, which I really enjoy. And just it takes colored pencil really well as well, which I do a lot of my sketching in colored pencil. So that makes sense as to why it would be like that. So I'll probably continue drawing more heads in there, but it will just be a on-the-go version of this kind of low-pressure sketchbook. Okay, we're in the final pile here. I realized I didn't even count how many books I have here, but it's no surprise. I always have a giant pile. It's fine. Continuing on with this guy here. This is a Strathmore mixed media. This is my Sketchbook Club sketchbook. This is my sketchbook club that I run on Patreon. See, here's an illustrated gal. You just saw her sketched out in another one. But yeah, this has been really fun. This is a video series that is offered on the all access tier on Patreon. Every month I do a sketchbook club video. It's exclusive to that tier, but it's where I do all sorts of fun things, but every single thing is documented on Patreon. So at some point I'll do a flip of this, but I just explore a lot of different things, a lot of different ideas. And let's see, where's my most recent one? This is my most recent one. And again, all filmed on Patreon. So every single page in this book is heavily documented on camera. So I still have some pages in here, just kind of random ones all over the place. I have the back half of the book and then just random pages all over. So I don't think I have much more in this to finish it, but it's definitely on the list as something that I need to get done. And then I'll probably start a new one. So that is Patreon Sketchbook Club sketchbook. These last three here, this one and the last two, are really like project or like specific books that I use for certain things. Next up, I've dragged this book out for the last 2 years. This is the one that just like haunts me here. It's my tarot sketchbook. This is different from my tarot journal. My tarot journal is where I'm doing like my studies, my spreads, my daily pulls, etc. This is where I'm actually doing the sketching and designing for the Bybun tarot deck. So all of my sketches live in here, random notes, paint swatches, etc. So I brought this back out as something that I need to get back into because I am determined to work on this tarot project. My goodness. So I'm bringing this back into the rotation here because I really want to work on my tarot deck. I'm very motivated after doing all of those oracle cards, which I'm still not done with. I only have a handful left of those to finish, which I'm hoping to get to once I kind of get caught up on videos for the start of this year here, is continue working on the oracle project, which, by the way, all of those sketches live in my Sketchbook Club sketchbook. All of those have been sketched on camera there, which has also been wild. So documenting that entire process of doing all of those houses. See, I have a lot of them. It's kind of wild. I literally only have like 6 cards left to do. So, yeah, it's coming along. That's another project. But I felt so motivated after doing all of those and just seeing like if I really dedicate myself to a project, I can get it done. And the Bybun Tarot deck is one of those that's just, I'm tired of it just rolling over year over year. I really want this to be a focus for me. It's 2023. It's the year of tarot. It has to be because I just really want to get this project done. So that is my tarot sketchbook. I'm bringing it back out, and hopefully it will actually get put to use. My last sketchbook here is, it's a Moleskine art collection, but it's in a large scale. I got this originally because I just enjoy working in the smaller ones so much that I thought, you know what, let me give it a go working in a big one, because I work in a big one for my sketchbook, Patreon Sketchbook Club, and my off-camera crinkle, that I was like, you know what, I probably would like working in this scale. Let's go for it. I started this over summer, and what ended up happening is that it ended up becoming the sketchbook that I take with me to my in-person drawing club. I am part of a weekly Just Draw art club that meets every week, and it's very casual. We do lots of like contour drawing, and there's different prompts, and it's very low pressure, chill. But I found that this sketchbook is great for that because at the end we always stand in a circle and share our work, and this has been a really great thing to have like big scale to like open up in front of me and share with everybody. So I'm kind of just turning it into my drawing club sketchbook. I also tend to do a lot of mixed media stuff in here. So there's like random illustration stuff, random things that I do there at Sketchbook Club, kind of just my own random doodles and things. And then prompts and stuff that have been from our meetings. So I've just kind of have allowed it to naturally become my drawing club sketchbook. I have done some other spray painting and stuff in there. And that's just kind of what it is. I'm just kind of letting myself, I'm just kind of letting my drawing club have this sketchbook, so to speak, and this being the thing that I kind of work in when I go there. I'm making good progress. I'd say I'm nearing the halfway point, but obviously this is something that I work in weekly. So in no time, this will get totally filled up. Another little companion to that is this was something that was actually given to me at our drawing club. We were all kind of issued one of these to try to complete it by March. I take it with me to our drawing club meetings, and I either kind of tuck it in here or I put it in the back pocket of this and it just kind of lives in there. And it's been my place of where I do like really messy warm-ups, like blind contour drawings, random hands. I've added some extra fun paper in there. But it's kind of just a low pressure, it feels very much like an off-camera crinkle because it's like not great, the best paper, obviously, but it's still fun to like doodle in. So that's my like secondary little book. It's part of a separate little challenge that we're doing. I think everyone's trying to get this completed so that we have like a sketchbook club party and then everyone has their sketchbooks out on the table and we can flip through them and stuff. I haven't seen anyone else bring their sketchbook back, mind you, but I'm doing my best to try to fill it up, and I bring it with me to those meetings. So it's kind of a twofold thing. I do my warm-ups in this one, and then I do my larger pieces in this one over here. So that is my project-based little sketchbooks there, but still overall a big old pile of stuff in 2023. All right, so there you have it, guys, my full lineup for 2023. Obviously, there's always flexibility in this big old pile of stuff here. Sometimes I add things. Obviously, I rotate things out as I complete them. Some things are just specific to this year. There's flexibility with this, and I know some people might think that it's crazy to have this big of a pile up of things that you're working on, but that's just how it goes. And I know a lot of you guys are the same way. And I think even just assessing your lineup at the start of the year, whether you move forward with these things or not, is a really great way to just have those kind of creative goals in place and just get that mindset going of what it is that you want to be working on and tackling in the year ahead, whether it's your personal journaling, new sort of hobbies or goals like my little tarot journal, my little junk journal that I absolutely love, or continuing those other kind of creative practices in art journaling and sketchbooks and all that good stuff. So yes, big pile, but absolutely love it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video as well. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe. I put out a new video every week. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much for staying subscribed here on the channel. I always really appreciate it. That about does it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.